Hi everyone, this is Jill. I'm coming to you with a non-crafty video today. I wanted to document in hopes that I might be able to help somebody out there who may be going through something similar that I've been going through since mid-August. I had a complete rupture of my Achilles tendon, and when I went to research to find out what the treatment options were, the recovery, what I had to look forward to, I could only find people that didn't fit my profile. Most of the people, or all of the people that I found, were younger, much younger. I don't think I saw anybody over the age of 30. Typically in better shape than me, athletic, and could get around pretty easily. I am 57, very overweight. I am a diabetic type 2, which is controlled, and I do have hypertension, which is controlled, and I think those are the major things that you would have to take into consideration when dealing with having to have surgery and the recovery. So back on August 10th, I injured myself. It was just one of those, just a typical thing. I was trying to avoid my dog's paw, step back, and that's when the injury happened. So it's not like I was out trying to do something that I shouldn't be doing physically. So it was just one of those things. I felt an intense pain in the back of my heel and a lot of burning, and then I felt sick to my stomach. An Achilles tendon injury didn't even cross my mind because I thought with those, you heard a pop, you weren't able to bear weight on your leg. That is what I had understood. So my husband was in the room when it happened, and after it happened, I immediately, excuse me, sat in a chair that was right beside me. I felt around, I couldn't feel anything was out of place. It didn't feel like it was a broken bone because I've broken bones before. But I knew something wasn't right. But he wanted to know if I wanted to go to the ER. I said no. I said, let's see how it goes overnight and go from there. I got upstairs. I was able to bear weight on it gingerly. I went up the steps, got into my bed, elevated, iced, did all the protocol you're supposed to do when you injure yourself. So the night was very painful. It was difficult trying to move around when I was trying to sleep. My poor husband didn't get much sleep either. So the next day, my husband had to be somewhere, so my son took me to urgent care because this happened to my right foot, so I couldn't drive. Urgent care didn't seem too concerned. They thought maybe I sprained my foot or ankle or something. They didn't even try to x-ray it. They gave me a post-op shoe after I said, I need some support. So they put me in a post-op shoe. I followed up with my podiatrist because I thought this was a foot injury. And after he examined, I could tell he was feeling around to see if it might be the Achilles. Don't think he felt it was. And so he said, I think you ought to get an MRI. So I went and had the MRI. They couldn't fit me in until the 21st of August. The next day, on the 22nd, I'm one of those nosy people that will read my reports online if it's available because I hadn't heard from anyone, and it said right then and there I had a complete rupture of my Achilles tendon. So I went into action. I knew that this was a serious injury and didn't know what my treatment options are. So I called an orthopedist that I had used in the past, and excuse me, the office talked to me, and they called me back within 30 minutes and said he wants to see it today. So because of the way the health system is, around here, he could see my results online and wanted me in there right away. I went in to see him. He took lots of time to talk to me about things, and he explained to me that my rupture was one of the more rare ruptures. Now, when I do things, I do it right. I don't do it halfway. So typically when an Achilles tendon ruptures, for those of you that don't know, the Achilles tendon attaches to the back of your heel and runs up. Now, this is where my biology isn't the greatest, but I know it runs up under your calf, and I'm not sure where it attaches up there. But typically the rupture will happen a bit above your ankle and below your calf. So you'll have a space between where the Achilles tendons are, where the whole piece should be. There will be a separation. Mine avulsed from my bone, and that means I didn't have a break in the tendon. It completely came off my bone. So it wound up like the old blinds or shades that you used to have to block out the sun. It kind of retracted behind the calf muscle. And you could see just a little piece of it below the calf muscle when the doctor showed me the MRI. So he gave me my options. They weren't, I had two. One, I could do nothing. And since it was completely off of my bone, my muscles would atrophy and I'd eventually have to go into a brace. And I didn't like the sound of that because I do like to walk and I wanted to be able to walk again normally. And then he explained to me that they can reattach it to the bone. And he talked to me about my diabetes and that he felt I still have good pulses in my feet. I still have, it's under control. It's not really wacky. And so it was decided to do the surgery. I was willing to take the risks of possible infection, and I guess infection was the biggest risk other than your typical anesthesia risks. I've had anesthesia in the past and I've never had trouble, so that didn't concern me as much as infection, because I did have relatives who I saw lose parts of their limbs due to infection and being diabetics. So I had the surgery on August 27th. It was the same day surgery. It took about an hour and a half to do. He was happy that he didn't have to perform the surgery with me laying on my stomach since I am a large person. I was able to lay on my back and I have enough flexibility in my hips that my leg could go across my other leg. It's kind of hard to explain. So that he could do the surgery with my leg resting on my other leg. And the incision is sort of on the side of my ankle. I'm not going to show pictures because it's not pretty. And I don't want to gross anyone out. Or maybe I should. I don't know. But I don't know. I think against my better judgment, I won't show it. But it was about a 4-inch incision. There were stitches that were used to close the wound. Internally, I think he said he put 4 anchors in my, I don't know if that's the right word, but 4 anchors in my heel and sewed everything up, and there were some internal sutures that dissolved. So I have 4 anchors in my heel holding the Achilles tendon down. After the surgery, I was put into a splint with my toe pointing down so that there was no stress on the Achilles. When your foot is normally flexed like that, I can't do that. Isn't that awful? So it was pointed down. And I stayed that way for 2.5 weeks, I think it was. No weight bearing. I was using a knee scooter rather than crutches. Talking with my doctor, he felt that was the safest route for me. So I used the knee scooter. I went back after 2.5 weeks. The sutures were removed. He was very happy with the way the wound looked, and he warned me that it was going to take a while for the wound to heal. Being diabetic, even though it's controlled, you still are going to have issues with it healing at a normal pace. And so I was to start physical therapy in early October, which I did. Oh, after I saw the doctor, he took the splint off, and it was going to be decided then whether or not to put me in a cast for a couple of weeks or put me right into the walking boot, which is what he had put me in before my surgery. So he decided to put me in the walking boot, and I kept that on all the time for support. Again, non-weight bearing. I think I was non-weight bearing for at least 6 weeks. And then I was noticing that I'm backtracking here. Sorry about that. I should have written a script. But he did remove the sutures and then put steri strips on top of it because, you know, after that time, not everything's completely closed. Long story short, I started to develop a bit of an infection in the wound. Probably they noticed it a week into physical therapy, and I went back to see the doctor, and as a precaution, he put me on a week's worth of antibiotics, and that cleared everything up. He took the steri strips off after I went back to see him, and what had happened is moisture was getting under the steri strips and not letting things heal. I wasn't getting the wound wet. I was getting showers, using a shower seat, and fortunately we have a handicapped accessible shower in our house. So it was just the moisture from normal sweat from being in the boot and not getting a lot of air to it. So I started a protocol of leaving the boot off when I was at home. And that was scary because I didn't have support around it, but I learned to get over my fears and just take it easily. So he wanted me to take a day off of going to physical therapy. I started back up. Things have been going really well. Today is October 14th, I think. I'm still going to therapy twice a week. I am now using a walker to walk. I'm putting full weight on my foot. The incision is still not completely healed. It is scabbed over, but it will occasionally start to open up again, but there's no infection, but it's healing from the inside out, which the doctor said will take a while. So I just wanted to put this out there to let people know that anyone can get this type of injury. Recovery is different for everyone. Get a doctor that you feel really good with, and one that will explain everything to you, that you should understand what your treatment is, what exactly is happening to you. And I also have to put it out there that most people think or have thought that it was going to be very painful. I'm not saying it wasn't painful, but I can tell you that I did not need a lot of pain medication. Tylenol was pretty much what I used. I did have something a little stronger, but I didn't need it. That's just me. I'm not saying that would be the same case for everyone, but I'm feeling more pain now in physical therapy, which I expected because things are starting to move again that you haven't moved in a while. But, you know, this can happen to anyone, any age, any size. So don't think that if you're not the athletic type that you can't have this injury, and you will eventually recover. As far as driving, I haven't driven since August 10th. I'm hoping I'll be driving in 2020. I'm not going to push it because I want to make sure that I am at my best when I get behind the wheel, because it's not only my life but others around me that I have to be worried about when I'm driving. So until I know I can put my foot on the brake and apply it firmly and safely, I won't be driving. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.